Welcome back, everybody, to IGN Live at San Diego Comic-Con, brought to you by The Evil Within and Lucy. Remember, you can be part of the show. Just like IGN on Facebook and use the hashtag IGN Live to ask us any questions you desire. We will answer them live here on the air, just for you. My name is Damon. This is Greg. Brian, our good friend Daniel from Nintendo, is here to show us Hyrule Warriors, the Zelda celebration fit into the Dynasty Warriors mold. Is that accurate?
That's actually a pretty good accurate statement. That's
you can use that. You can use that.
Put it on the box!
Yes. The game is just a giant celebration of bringing back, taking that classic Nintendo franchise and applying it to a different way. Especially that idea of being empowering and actually being able to use different characters in a way you hadn't been able to before. And even just today, or just recently, we announced 3 new characters being brought into the series, and we're here showing off one of them, Darunia, the Goron, who has a magic hammer, who's able to basically beat up enemies in rapid fashion.
Now, Brian, you wouldn't know this, but Gorons live underground.
That's true. They live in
rocks.
caves and they eat rocks.
Yes.
That's true. But right here, with the level we're showing here is the Elden Caves. And the Elden Caves is an inspiration from Ocarina of Time. Oh, no, sorry, Twilight Princess. I apologize.
Oh, man, you just got eaten alive in the
I
comments.
know, I'm sure. I mean,
Why does Nintendo guy on and he does not know Nintendo?
So the Elden Caves. So that is true. So this level is inspired by the Elden Caves, and other levels in the game will be inspired from different franchises that are brought into the series as well. So that's where we're going here. But right here, we're seeing Goron swing his magic hammer around and basically just taking swaths of enemies across the screen. And right now, he's actually fighting Skulltulas and Skull's children, sorry. And that's who he's fighting out through right now. And he's trying to take over different areas within the game. And that's the main point of the game too, is trying to go from different areas and help capture and claim these other outposts throughout the game as you progress through.
So what you're saying is he beats up children.
Skulltula children.
Oh, okay, so that's okay. So they're dead already.
Yeah,
it's fine.
it's
Cousins of Dry Bones.
They are cousins of Dry Bones.
Yeah.
So is this his house that was sort of taken over? This is his kind of kingdom here?
No, I mean, this is not part of Death Mountain, per se. The Elden Caves is something different in that case. But basically, it kind of does go with the motif of who Darunia is as a...
He fits in.
As a Goron.
Yeah.
It fits in well. Fits in well here. And he's able to basically use different moves and combos to go through to try to defeat these enemies as he's going through it. Like using his hammer, even using his stomping down on the ground. And we're going through here right now.
So your fellow warriors will pop up and give you messages at the bottom. And I see Link pop up, but it's not Link talking to you, correct?
It depends on who's talking to you. Link could be there. Yeah, you will actually bump into the different heroes as you're playing through the game, being controlled by the computer.
But is Link actually has dialogue in the game? Because it says proxy,
in
right?
text. That was proxy, but it looks similar to Link in that picture there. But yeah, different character like Impa. In this situation, you'll actually be talking more with Impa. That's at different points in the level as well. So you'll get, and usually he's trying to guide you into the game of where you're supposed to be going to next within the game.
When Link's text pops up, it just says,
I was with you on that, Damon. I was like, wait a minute, do we have a talking Link for the first time?
That would be significant.
Yes, it would be significant if Link was talking. That was proxy, but you will get character. That character did look a little like Link in that there, but it was proxy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've waited decades to talk.
and finally, I am.
The silence is over.
And what's cool here, as he's defeating enemies and things like that, he's able to build up that little yellow meter right there as he's defeating different enemies. That's his special attack. So right there's Link, actually. You just saw Link next to Darunia if he turns around. There he is, behind him. I'm not sure if Gil can see him. Can you turn around, Gil, to see if you can see Link in the picture? He ran away.
He's going to show you the yellow bar.
There he is.
There's Link.
He's just hanging out.
Gil knows what's up.
There he is. Yes, that's true. Gil knows what's going on.
So you've got a lot of elements from Zelda games, right? Like you've got the bombs, you've got the, I believe that's the sort of magic meter, the hearts, the overworld map and stuff like that. But this is not, and I think even rupees, right?
Yep.
But this is not your standard Zelda game, right? You don't really have the level progression of like temples and stuff like that. But there are big bosses. Right?
Yes, there are bosses at the end of different levels you play through that. And hopefully, as we go through this, we'll get to the end of the level and be able a chance to fight against one of the bosses. I won't say who it is yet, so you people can be surprised when they get to that.
You people.
Yeah. But basically, right now, what we're trying to go through the level now is using these bomb shoes to basically act and defend it from the different enemies to basically explode different pathways to get to the end of the level, which is what Gil is trying to do right now as he's playing through the game for us.
I believe that's the biggest bomb shoe in Zelda history.
Yeah, it is a very large bomb shoe. And as you mentioned too, with the rupees and the materials he's gathering, that stuff will be used to basically level up and unlock different combos in the game as you go through the entire game. So there is a purpose to gathering all those different items and going through everything.
So Daniel, question for you. You're on the inside. You get to know these scoops long before we do. What was your reaction when this came across your desk? You're like, well, we're making another Zelda, but we're partnering with Dynasty Warriors, and it's this.
Interesting. I played a little bit of Dynasty Warriors in my past, so I knew there was a lot of slashing. And I was very intrigued, though, to finally see how it would apply with Zelda, with the Legend of Zelda series into it. And in the end, to me, it became more about getting an opportunity to play with the Legend of Zelda characters outside the world you're normally in. And in fact, that empowerment where you get to even use like Princess Zelda, Darunia, Ruda, Agatha, Midna, all these characters who normally you never play as. You just kind of work with them to some extent. You get to play with Link, obviously, here as well. But it's nice to play with characters who aren't Link. And get a chance to even use different weapons and items that you haven't had a chance to use before in combat. Like Zelda gets to use the Wind Waker to actually call upon different things. And even to see a new character with Lana, who is a white sorceress, is able to use different spells. And as I said, today we announced the ability to now play with Darunia. We also announced Princess Ruda, who, as you mentioned, we were talking a little earlier, has never really been a fighter before. She was kind of more sitting down and just making you carry her everywhere.
So she grew up and learned to kick ass, basically.
Basically, yeah, she's now learning.
She got over it.
Correct.
She read the fan letters from everybody. Like, just walk out with me.
The Princess Ruda, I remember, you would bring her around Jabu Jabu's belly in Ocarina of Time, and you just carried her everywhere.
Yes.
It was like a bag of sand.
Correct. And if you put her down, she would start complaining that why aren't you carrying her?
Just like a bag of sand.
And we've got a question here from one of our viewers on Facebook. If we can pull that up. Scott Maynell asks, are there any plans to support the game after release through DLC, whether that be costumes, characters, or new levels?
At this time, we haven't announced anything about DLC. We're still announcing characters in the game like we just announced today. So we're still going through that progression. So we're waiting for that, go through all that before we start worrying about what the future could hold. So stay tuned for more information on that one.
Always keeping us on the hook, Dan.
You got to. You got to keep people intrigued and wondering what's coming next.
So I guess you were talking a second ago about getting to take the characters we know from Zelda, play them in a different way. For me, it's like taking your toys out of your toy box, right? Putting them down, new stuff. Do you think that's going to continue with other Nintendo franchises? Is Nintendo as a company getting more and more open to just taking the franchises we know and just do whatever, do something cool with them, do something different, especially a developer outside of Nintendo?
I mean, to an extent, you've seen some of that happen to an extent here with Koei Tecmo, with Hyrule Warriors, and even to an extent with Smash Brothers, working with Namco on that. So we have seen some steps like that, and those are types of games that go that. And we're always looking at different opportunities that could possibly come up. But as of right now, this is what we're showing so far. So we're kind of sticking to that. But yeah, we'll see what the future holds with our games coming out and see how much we progress in those different directions.
Okay. Super Mario, Grand Theft Auto.
There you go.
Confirmed.
You can have that for free.
Yeah.
What would Naughty Dog do with Metroid?
And here we had a little chance to talk with Impa. Link isn't talking, as you noticed. It's just him hanging out. His usual sound effects.
If you ever need Link sound effects, I'm there for you.
Oh, perfect. That'd be great.
Or Mario ones.
What's cool though right now, I do notice that in the next fight we do have now his yellow special move meter has been filled up, so we'll try to get a chance to see some of that right now against these different enemies. So he does his.
Here.
Oh man.
Basically clearing enemies very quickly throughout this whole game. And as he's playing through, we'll see. Hopefully, he's able to get enough of magic jars to fill up his magic meter, which is pretty close right now, which is really cool. Once he gets that, he'll be able to activate another move using something called Focus Spirit, which makes him really powerful. His ability, he'll move faster. He won't take as much damage. People can't dodge his attacks as much. Things along those lines as well.
So now, when I first saw this game, I'm not a big Dynasty Warriors guy. So it kind of intrigued me because I haven't played a lot of those games. And the more I started looking at it, I was like, I think this isn't a game about killing every enemy on screen.
No.
I thought it was at first. I was like, man, there's thousands of enemies, wave after wave. We have to murder them all. But it's not really like that. It's more objective-based, right?
It is a bit objective-based, and at the same time, even when you're running around in different levels, you might have claimed a different area, and then you were warned it's being overtaken because other army troops have come in to invade. So you have to sometimes run back to reclaim an area before it gets lost. So you're constantly moving around to different objectives, and since there are different characters like Impa, they're also doing other things.
Yeah.
So you're kind of running around to what the objectives you need to deal with are as quickly as possible. But if you want, you could also try to kill every single enemy you find as well. So it's up to you to decide how you want to progress through the game.
Daniel, Hyrule Warriors looks very cool. It's out September 26th?
September 26th is when the game's coming out, yes.
Cool. Thank you so much for bringing it by. You there, stay right where you are. We'll be right back after these messages.